Hi, my name is Grace Schuler, and today I will be telling you why I believe Edgar Allan Poe's The Telltale Heart should be taught to every college student. In this course, out of all of the works and stories that I read, Edgar Allan Poe's stories stuck out to me the most because I have never read any of them before. I've never been taught any of them, and I've never heard of him before. So after reading it, I learned about him and how influential he was, and I learned a whole different genre of writing that I've never ever read before. The way he tells his stories is not something that I would normally choose just to pick up and read, but it was very interesting. It had me on the edge of my seat, wanting to hear what happened or hear what was going to happen next. And he tells his stories in a very gruesome, depressing, and mysterious way that I've never really read before. And so that was also something that I found very interesting about this specific work of Edgar Allan Poe. After reading this story, it showed me that there was many different ways to interpret it. Because after reading other people and how they interpreted the poem, I didn't even think about that until I read theirs. And I just found that very interesting that you could look at a poem and the person beside you could read it a completely different way and look at it a completely different way. And that's what I found so interesting about this specific story, was the different ways you can look at it. And you really have to look outside the box to understand what Edgar was trying to teach and show the reader. The Telltale Heart is about, if you don't already know, it's about a distressed man who gets extremely anxious around this older man who is either his friend or a family member. It doesn't exactly say who the old man is in relation to him, but it's about this old man's eye, and it makes the narrator very anxious and stressed out, and not scared, but just stressed out when he sees this eye. And it leads to him wanting to kill this old man with the eye. And so he ends up killing him, and then after he kills him, he feels so much guilt that when the police come after a complaint of screaming, they go through the house and they don't see anything, but the narrator hears the dead man's heartbeat. But it was truly his own heartbeat, because he was getting so much guilt built up in him and he was getting very stressed out that he heard the heartbeat but thought it was the old man's. And so he got really anxious and built up, and he ended up outing himself to the police and telling the police that he killed the man. That is the story in a very short summary, but it is a very interesting short story to read. It really makes you look at the story in very different ways, and it is so mysterious and gruesome, and you couldn't imagine why someone would write it. And I think that's why it's so intriguing, is because you would have never thought to write of something so depressing and gruesome and just true insanity. He was known for making very influential poetries and fiction that were so different from anything anyone's ever read before at the time, because they were so negative and they brought such a negative light to a certain topic, and they were just like a horror film but on paper, and that's what made it so interesting. I've never read a book and gotten on the edge of my seat and wanted to keep reading before I read this short story. His techniques of writing just made me want to keep reading, because it was just so mysterious and jaw-dropping and it captured me, is the best way to put it. Is I just wanted to keep reading and find out what happened next. I believe that this story, The Telltale Heart, should be taught to every college student because it can open their eyes to a new style of writing and how a story can be analyzed in so many different ways. Edgar Allan Poe's The Telltale Heart was just a truly intriguing and brilliant piece of work. And I believe that every college student should read it because of Edgar Allan Poe was so influential in fiction, and it showed new techniques of writing and a completely new genre. So that's why I believe it should be taught to every college student. Thanks for watching!